panic attack. Travis Wayne Goodsell, back from retirement by Mormon popular demand. And so, ABC4 News Utah is the only one that covered this, in which they covered the church's statement. And then a little while later, covered Rabbi Avrahami Zippel. Probably butchered the pronunciation of that. It's Avram Zippel. Avram coming from Abram in Genesis, who became Abraham with his new name in the LDS Temple of Abraham. He condemns the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So he and, me, I did too, for their inadequate and revealing First Presidency statement on the war in Israel. He, however, takes a different approach. He's kind of afraid to upset Mormons, and so he only says the First Presidency left out terror. I was a little more direct and blunt, being born and raised in the Covenant Mormon, and realizing by studying my scriptures, as we are ordered to do, and learn the truth that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not Joseph Smith's church. We are not Christian. And so the rabbi doesn't seem to understand that the church stabbed the Jews in the back with their First Presidency statement. I condemn the church for not saying the name Hamas, blaming Hamas. They did it. They started it. They drew first blood. And you can claim that, well, no, this is a conflict that's complicated and has gone back for decades. No, it's not complicated. The Jews were a part of Judah long before the creation of Hamas and even the creation of Palestine, Palestinians. So no, Palestinians and the Hamas have no claim of victimhood here. This is bullying tactic 101. To attack, and then when people attack you back, which is called self-defense, you then claim to be the victim. And this is what's going on throughout our nation and around the world. Palestinian students at universities and colleges are protesting misinformation, claiming that Israel drew first blood and that the Palestinians are the victims, completely removing Hamas's actions from the equation. They're setting up to attack in the various countries where they are protesting to claim cause. This is going to escalate to a world war, because you just don't mess with Israel. That's the powder keg that you can't light. And it was lit. And so we're also getting news reports, not from social media, from established, long-time, confirmed, legitimate press that Hezbollah has also began to attack Israel from the northern part of Gaza. And so this is already expanded. The UN's trying to get in, but Netanyahu has let the people of Palestine know in advance they're coming. have warned them by shutting off the power and electric, their power and the water, so that they would leave. They didn't leave. So Netanyahu has now been issuing warnings. Leave now. And reports from the legitimate news is that over 1 million Palestinians are being warned to leave. And Netanyahu is telling rescue aid food people that he will not allow them in until Hamas releases the hostages. This is war. And as much as people think that they need to rush in and save people, you gotta wait for the fighting to end. But people do what they do. And so he's giving Palestinians an opportunity to leave because they're coming in. That will not stop. What was done to the Jews is inexcusable. It was a terrorist attack, as the Rabbi wanted the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints' first presidency to claim. They didn't. Hamas is a terrorist organization. They are designated as terrorists by the United States of America. And for the church to leave that out was wrong. But I knew this was coming. Back when the church began claiming we're now in bed with Islam, we're just like them. They get 72 child bride virgins when they die. We get 10. We're just like them. And doing business deals with terrorist countries. You know, like Saudi Arabia. The princess came to the first presidency at the church administration building, did photo ops. She only does business to benefit Saudi Arabia. She came out with a statement on that after talking with another terrorist organization. Yes, another terrorist organization. The Church of Jesus Christ is a terrorist organization. So says the Southern Poverty Law Center. The Council for National Policy is a terrorist organization. They are a hate group. They have been overthrowing America and have escalated the pace the last several years. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is involved with it, pushing their religious freedom in the public eye. This is a secret combination that got leaked. The Scousins are the representation for the church. And so the 2016 election, yeah, the church made sure a certain president got put in through Steve Bannon, member. The overthrow of Roe v. Wade, yeah, the church, because the judges were put in by this group. And the Supreme Court justices compromised and taking bribes from the billionaires, yeah, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is involved with this group and had the member, Leonard Leo, be the go-between. And then the Disrespect for Marriage Act, yeah, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints put their exemption clause in so that it doesn't have to be followed. This is what the church is doing. They're overthrowing America. They are a terrorist group. They are seditious conspirators. Senator Lee should not be in Congress. The 14th Amendment that says he needs to go. He is a seditious conspirator who sought to overthrow the 2020 election. He's got to go, along with others. But they were allowed to stay, and now they've shut down the House of Representatives as there's no speaker. And we're coming up middle of November for the renewal of the thing, the budget. It was McCarthy failed on that one, and then failed to so lots of chaos and pandemonium, mass hysteria. So today, they are expecting across this nation the colleges and universities to hold protests, both pro-Palestine and pro-Israel. So that's going to be fun. I'm sure World War III Civil War won't break out on Friday the 13th. And so, if you're unfamiliar with the state of Utah, they too have colleges and universities. And yes, we already have both sides protesting here in Utah. So, it's likely, we just don't know yet until it happens, that there will be protests at the University of Utah and the BYU. And I want to put out a shout out to everybody on both sides, Palestinian terrorists and pro-Israelites, that in the state of Utah, there's an oral tradition law that if you protest in the state of Utah, you are now designated as a domestic terrorist. Just be warned. Just be warned. So it doesn't matter if you're supporting Palestine or Israel. You will be designated as a terrorist in the state of Utah, because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will not have protesters in their kingdom. State. You think this is not real? No, the church runs and operates many things that you do not realize. They are a terrorist organization. What did you think tithing was for?
Oh, it's a donation, Travis.
It's priestcraft as defined in section 119 of the forged document of Brigham Young that was put out after Joseph Smith was murdered by Brigham Young. And so I also did the videos showing you the locations of the centers, Islamic centers here in Utah. They tend to focus in Utah and California for some reason, which is weird. There's an overabundance compared to other states in the nation. And the positions of where they're located is right near infrastructure for the arteries, traffic arteries, the freeways, in which if they launched an attack after a prayer service, which has a special Friday prayer service, which has Muhammad's words replacing the regular daily version during the afternoon prayer, in which he calls for the day of judgment against the wicked. The 5 pillars of Islam, involving the 5 prayers during the day, and the sun at noonday that they usurped from the Jews, just like Christians usurped the sun god at noonday too. But they're close to power stations, the Rocky Mountain power stations. They are close to the airport. They're close to hospitals, so that if they take out the roads and the track system, they can cripple us instantly, preventing rescue aid getting into Utah, as that's going to be delayed, and Mormons in Utah trying to escape and get out of the valley. They've got it all set up, down to Provo up to Logan, for such a potential sleeper cell attack. And this should concern Utah, but all they're doing is elevating patrols at synagogues and the centers, Islamic centers here in Utah, according to the news. And so apparently they're not concerned as they should be, because Islam supports Hamas. They don't support Israel. And so if the church supports Israel, if Mormons support Israel, Islam in Utah will see you as a threat. And like I said, this is already escalated. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. And it's, perfect timing for the latter days, as prophesied by the Jews, because the Christian interpretation is that it's supposed to last for 3.5 years before Jesus finally comes and destroys everybody, and then tells the surviving Jews that they're in the wrong church and they need to convert to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is a slap in the face to the Jews, as they trick the Jews into getting the BYU Jerusalem Center. And so that's disturbing. And to see that they've planned the placement of the mosques so that they can prevent Utahns from getting to a hospital during such an attack is also disturbing. But, Joseph Smith did prophesy that an attack would come to this valley. Section 101, verse 51. And he repeated that, referred to it, in the unpublished, but in the Joseph Smith papers, which means it is authoritative, because it says so, 19 July 1840. He also talks about how the church will be responsible in overthrowing the Constitution by creating laws that overthrow it. Like, overthrowing Roe v. Wade, overthrowing the First Amendment, freedom of speech, so that religious freedom can dominate, etc., etc., and commit crimes and all sorts of stuff because they don't have to follow the laws of the land as a religion. And so, if you're unfamiliar, the church has been busted for SEC violations. The church says that we're a religion. We can do whatever we want. And so the church is guilty of a lot more. Just because the government is compromised to the church doesn't mean that the church isn't guilty. So be safe today. It's the end of the world. And try not to have a panic attack.